Hello, 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 world. This is your host, Louise Hicks of Aim to Purpose Spiritual Empowerment Hour. And we're going to talk about some church news. I'm sure if you've been listening to the internet or either listening to other people share with you, you've heard about, Pastor Jamal Bryant's wife and the infamous dress. It's been all over the internet. And when you become a public figure like they are and you get around and you wear something that's different, especially when you are a first lady, you're going to hear about it. So I want to share with you my little 2 cents perspective on this dress. And again, I'm Louise Hicks, your host of Aim to Purpose Spiritual Empowerment Hour. Please share, subscribe, like, thumbs up. And I would definitely like to know your comments. Please comment on what your thoughts are. So let me go ahead and share something that I created so that we can have a discussion here because I think it's something that we need to talk about. So here we go. I'm going to share this with you. And I created this because I wanted to give my 2 cents about this. And my thing is the dress wearing the pastor's wife, or is the pastor's wife wearing the dress? It appears to me the dress is wearing her. So, and you may have heard, and I'm going to make this pretty brief. The pastor came back and he admonished people for speaking up and speaking out about what their thoughts were on this dress, which he said they were more focused on the money, that they more focused on the dress rather than on the money that was raised for the United Negro Fund, because this was an event that they had gone to. And as you can see, he has a beautiful wife, and he admonished people for speaking. I mean, he told them he bought the dress, and in essence, from what I got from the clip that I saw of the sermon, he's telling you to mind your own business and he can buy his wife and whatever he wants to buy her, which he can. However, I have to say this, if you are a pastor and you are a first lady, there are some standards that you perhaps should be adhering to because you are held to a higher standard because of your leadership role in the church as the pastor to shepherd the sheep. And this, I'm just speaking from a Christian perspective as well, because I'm a very spiritual person. I'm not a very religious person because there's so much hypocrisy in religion. But I just look at this and I feel it's inappropriate for the first lady to go out, even though he said the dress is has the flesh looking, but it's the fabric that is being used that makes it look like she is naked partially. And that's why, from my perspective, because you're supposed to be leading by example. And scripturally, we do know that there is biblical principles that we should be following when we dress. And you can look it up for yourself because it talks about it in 1 Timothy 2:9, where it says we should be appropriately dressed, meaning not wearing or avoiding provocative, suggestive, revealing type attire. And we should be dressing in moderation. And by no means is this attire that First Lady Carrie Turner Bryant is wearing. I would consider it inappropriate. However, you can wear what you want, but what kind of representation are you providing to not only your congregation, but to the younger generation? And I don't know whether what your purpose was, if it was to get attention or to show off as to look what I can wear. I can wear this and I can wear that and I can look the way I want to look. And it's just not a good look that's being presented from a pastor's wife. And again, this is just my perspective. And when you are a public figure and you're out there, you leave yourself for people to speak their perspective on things, to hold you accountable as a leader, especially. And when I heard the sermon from the pastor, I was kind of disappointed, even though I know we have we've deviated somewhat from our values and our principles. And we as ladies, women, we have to really hold ourselves accountable too to how we're dressing. I mean, we see all of this on when you go to see these entertainers, how some of them are dressed and what they wear. But that doesn't mean that we have to go out in public and wear such uh, revealing attire. And this is too revealing, even though it's an illusion that she's partially naked, but he's saying that he bought the dress, it has fabric. This is what the flesh fabric, this is what he wanted his wife to wear, and this is what she wore. But if you're getting flack about it, that's to be expected, particularly coming from a first lady and uh, a pastor's wife. So with that said, I just wanted to throw my little 2 cents in there because I do have a daughter. I have a granddaughter. My granddaughter is 12. And if she saw this, I certainly wouldn't want her to go out to an event like this and look at her purse, how it's clutched and where it's clutched. I mean, this is like a spider web dress coming together. And I have no problem with women wearing clothes that are very feminine, but it still should have, I mean, some type of moderation. It's important because we have to look at these young people that we are making every attempt because we know a lot of young people are out of control. Look at how they're treating the teachers in the schools and how they treat their parents, some of them. Some of the parents they can't even discipline some of these children that are they're not even teens yet, they're preteens and they're out of control. So we have to set an example and lead by example. And this is not the type of example that we should be setting, particularly when we call ourselves Christians. And we know the church, not all churches, we know that many churches now they have been so commercialized until their primary focus is on money. And a lot of people have fallen away for that reason because it's lack of values, lack of integrity, lack of morals, and lack of uh, credibility, lack of leading by example, lack of transparency. I recall a friend of mine who had gone to her church and she was paying her tithe, she said. And then she said she had asked the pastor one day, well, what are we going to do with the money? Well, how is the money being spent? And she said the pastor told her, that's none of your concern. Can you imagine that? You're giving your money to the church, and there's a lack of transparency where you can't even ask where the money is coming from. I mean, where the money is going, we know where it's coming from. It's coming from the congregants. But what is it being spent on? You have a right to ask that. And when if a pastor told me that, that would be the end of it for me, because just because they get the nonprofit status, a lot of these churches, and it was just a lot of them are, I'm not saying all, because all pastors are not bad, but nowadays, I mean, some of the black churches have become so commercialized until you can't distinguish it from the world. And that's sad. And so much money comes through these churches' hands. And what are they doing with the money? And that's sad too, because we got a church almost on every corner, which is sad. And when the churches can't come together, the preachers can't come together. What kind of outcome do you expect? And with all the money that the churches are getting, we should have our own medical institutions, financial institutions, educational institutions. I mean, there's a lot of money that go through not just the churches, but through our hands as Black people, period. Almost going on $2 trillion. And with the money with churches, if we would just unify and come together, we could solve many of our own economic problems. We should be about spiritually, intellectually, emotionally, uh, physically, socially. We should be about all of these things, bringing each one together so that we can provide for ourselves. And that's not to exclude reparations. I always say that, because reparations is a debt. It's not a handout, as some would like to say. It's a debt. And I just did a video podcast about that not too long ago, and I'll be speaking about it some more on other podcasts as we move forward into 2026. And I would like to wish everyone a happy 2026, and hopefully you will have uh, a very joyous, happy, peaceful, prosperous 2026. But we just have to call each other out when we see something going on within our community, because that's what we should be doing. We should be sharpening each other's tools, and that is biblical. And if we're not doing that, it doesn't matter if you're the pastor's wife, nobody is perfect. So if you need to be called out, we call you out. That's the kind of person I am, because I always use that scripture, 2 Timothy, for God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. And this is showing love, really, when you reach out and you are letting someone know that how your thoughts are when you are professing to be a Christian. And this is not setting a good example for anyone. And it doesn't matter whether you're in church or out of church. Whether you're in church or out of church, I will repeat that. Your role still applies no matter where you are. If you are a pastor, if you're a first lady, if you're a Christian, your actions should exemplify who you claim to be. And that's just my perspective on it. To me, it is inappropriate. It's not scriptural. Scriptural talks about moderation and how you present yourself in your attire. And this is revealing, it's suggestive, and it's not teaching our young people how they should dress, or anybody for that matter. I have a daughter, and I talk to her about her clothing and her attire, and she will tell you that. I always do that. And she's 36, and she will ask me sometimes, Mom, what do you think about this? How does this look? because she'll tell I know how you've raised me. And even in elementary and junior high school, some of these kids are going to school with inappropriate attire. And that's something the parents, there's no way I would let my daughter go out of the house with some of the stuff that I've seen some of these kids wear to school, junior high, high school, and some may be in elementary school. I'm not sure. But let's work on that. And that's all I have to say about it. So please, again, Louise Hicks here. Please leave your comments, share, subscribe, like, thumbs up, because I'd like to hear what your thoughts are and whether you feel this is appropriate or not. Is the dress wearing the pastor's wife, or is the pastor's wife wearing the dress? Like I said, I feel the dress is wearing the pastor's wife from what I'm looking at here. And again, this is just my Black church news because it's something that's been going on all over the internet. And I said, let me chime in and check out what everybody is talking about. And when I saw it, I said, oh, yeah, I need to talk about that because that is not uh, representative of the scriptural standpoint on how we should be dressing and the message that it is carrying. It's not a good one for no matter whether you're at church or you're at an event, if you are a pastor or a pastor's wife. And that's just what my thoughts are. With that said, again, Louise Hicks here. Please share, leave your thoughts, your comments, subscribe to the channel because I will see you in the next video. And always remember, your power lies within you. Let it loose because your destiny is your command. Much love and see you in the next video.